Hi, welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco, and it's a little late, and it's going to be $1 short, too. We got my A Song of Ice and Fire character tournament, my number 4 update, and this is covering 2 brackets, my monster bracket and my big guys and gals bracket. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the format of this update is going to be a little different. And if you don't know what's going on here, I'm doing this huge tournament in my polls. Go check it out. I'm just doing round 1 of these. I'll do all the normal updates, but why this one's going to be different, I don't have a lot of time right now. As you might know, I just had a kid, and it was like a lot of bad things happened at the same time. Not like horrible things, but we literally, both of our cars broke down in the same 3-day stretch of us a kid. So we've been very busy, and I haven't been sleeping. My wife hasn't been sleeping too much. So the fact that I've even been able to do this, I hope you guys feel grateful, because it's getting me mad. My wife's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'll make it quick. So she's not actually mad at me. So what we're going to do, instead of me having up slides that I have comments on, I will show you guys the poll, and then I'm just going to flip over and read the comments off. It saved me a lot of time putting this together, so it's going to be, it cut a lot of my work time in half. So if you guys are not okay with this, sorry. I wouldn't have been able to make this video at all, pretty much, because I just don't have the time to put one together right now. So I hope you guys are okay with me just reading off some of the choice comments instead of actually putting them up on the screen. So without any more ado, let's go. So a little update. This was what happened with the first round of the Rebels bracket, and then of course the Legends bracket and the Modern Legends bracket. So now we're getting into monsters and big guys and gals. Big guys and gals is what I named it, but there's only one gal. So this is the one we're looking at right now, and then we're going to look at this guy. So let's get right into it with Shagwell versus the Weeper. So let's look at results here. And yeah, 81% to 19 for the Weeper. It didn't really surprise me too much here. So I thought it could go either way. So what we really have here are 2 complete monsters with really, really interesting and unorthodox offense, right? So if you're not ready to fight against a flailing 3-ball flail Morningstar, as they call it, you're going to get destroyed, right? And if you're not ready to fight with a scythe, it's very unorthodox. And I put both of them together. So as we see, the Weeper won this. So let's look at some of the comments here. So we had Diego P saying the Weeper is probably the best fighter beyond the wall, maybe even better than Mance. Diego, I would put Mance higher than the Weeper, but I absolutely think that people shouldn't underrate undervalue Weeper. And then Hawk McBride said, the Weeping Man wields a large curved scythe of steel. It is known for slaughtering Rangers of the Night's Watch and his raids of the North Mountain clans. He is also known for removing the eyes of his victims. He has such a reach and advantage, and we can assume even more skill. He would win this. However, he's voting Shagwell because of the badass triple Morningstar. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of really hard to do that. Efren Cheese said Savage Monster versus Brutal Monster, using a scythe, which is not a good weapon and only used by peasants. The other is wielding George R. R. Martin's triple Morningstar, aka a flail. I think Shagwell, prevails here. So I think I'm gonna call it there when it comes to comments. But yeah, as you see, it was mostly about the weapons, and a lot of people went Shagwell over Weeper in the comments. But we know the Weeper won, so Weeper moves on. Moving on to Smiling Knight versus Gregor Clegane. Yeah, this was gonna be a really good one, and I was rather surprised that the Mountain handled this as well as he did. But yeah, the Mountain beat the Smiling Knight 75 to 25. Wow. So let me flip over to those comments. I didn't have them ready, so sorry. I should be right in there. They are. I'm like, they should be right in front of me. Okay. So Melston said, I voted Gregor. Oh man. Sure. All right. This is a really long one. Oh, I shouldn't have started reading it. I voted Gregor, but I think it would be one of those fights where he wins, but perhaps receives serious, if not mortal, wound by the Smiling Knight. Gregor is just a tank and fully armored, and he would have a big reach plus strength advantage. And for people saying Gregor was just a monster who got on by his size, got by on size. Remember, he was a top jouster. Yeah, a lot of people forget that he's actually a really good jouster. Finished high and upright, won a lot of tourneys. Funnily enough, I don't think there is ever a reference to him participating in melees, which is undoubtedly would have cleared the lists. Yeah. There must have been a kingdom where, like a kingdom-wide Gregor ban for melees. That's really funny. Let's read somebody who we haven't got yet. Josh Wells just says, Smiling Knight, convince me otherwise. It's like that guy sitting behind the table meme, right? Baylor Breakspear said, suddenly I am not smiling anymore. Hey, you saw Smiling Knight lose. No, Hawk McBride got a lot of people commented on this. It looks like I didn't even read a lot of it. There was a lot of, it's got a little bit of controversy. Said at the Battle of the Kingswood Forest, the Smiling Knight dueled Barristan Selmy was defeated, but managed to escape. Later during that battle, he dueled a young Jaime Lannister, who's already one of the greatest warriors in the realm. Jaime would have lost that fight, but he held off the Smiling Knight long enough for Arthur Dayne to come in and take over the fight. Arthur and Smiling Knight had a monumental duel that was only interrupted when the sword was broken, allowing Arthur to get him a new blade and then kill him. The Smiling Knight is one of the greats. Yeah, that's all you're trying to get at. I think a lot of people were kind of just putting on kind of arguing Jaime being one of the greatest there. I think that's what a lot of those comments are. But yeah, anyways, we know who won. Gregor won for better or worse. I think I voted Smiling Knight. But yeah. All right. This is probably the lowest skill of any of these fights. We had Clayton Suggs versus Ramsay Bolton / Snow. And yeah, definitely lower in the skill department with these two losers. And yeah, I'll call them losers. I'm not going to feel bad about talking crap about the let's burn people alive guy and let's skin people alive guy. These guys are monsters. I mean, it is the monster bracket. Diego P says this one goes out to the bastard of Ares, the flying pig of Flea Bottom. Yeah. All right. If you don't know Clayton Suggs is a bastard of Ares, you're new here. One of my earlier videos, not one of my earliest, but one of my earlier videos, I threw that out. It's one of the only times I actually came up with a theory on my own. And yeah, I'm completely convinced that Clayton Suggs is Ares, the Mad King's bastard. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you, Diego P. Brainy says I'm going with the dragon spawn. Ramsay was trained by the original Reek and isn't allowed his. If he isn't allowed his dogs, he's a dead man. Yeah, for sure. Man of many cats, who might be just a random internet guy. Said Suggs takes this no contest unless Ramsay gets a costume and kills a pre-fight and dressed like the serving maid or something. Yeah. Nope. And then Efren T says Clayton Suggs, who went from Flea Bottom to a knight to serve Stannis. He must actually have good combat skills. Yeah, you have a point. And I'll do one more because we have an Irish potato thief. I'm going to just... Oh, wait. Here, I'll read Rebel Lord Terran. I just saw that he had got like 14 thumbs up on this one. Honestly, I think Clayton Suggs would win this. I can tell you why. Yes, Ramsay's brutal, but his own father says that he has seen him fight, and just to paraphrase, it was laughable. Wow, I can't even remember that quote. All right. So we have a trained knight that is a turd butt who is brutal himself versus a brutal, somewhat cunning crap warrior. Yes, Ramsay might be more low cunning than him, but one-on-one, I got to say this is Clayton. Yeah, all right. And then who did I say? Irish Potato Thief says, I hope both lose. But Ramsey is getting the Reek treatment at the end of this one. That's good. All right. And this is the one that angered me the most. I'm really pissed about it. Who did I get mad about? Ryan Redwine losing? Yeah. Not that I love Biter. Biter is an S tier like Ryan Redwine. Okay, he's not. He definitely should have beat Gerald Hightower. I'm dying on that hill. I think you guys are very wrong. But but Amory Lorch beating Biter is the dumbest. It's so dumb because he had armor on. That's it. Okay, whatever. So Biter lost this. Amory Lorch 63-37. Oh, let me pull up the comments here. So I so disagree. Thank you for watching. Thank you for voting. Thank you for participating. I'm not trying to make you feel bad if you voted Amory Lorch. It just blows my simple mind so much. I mean, because yes, Biter is an S tier, but he's pretty close because he doesn't fight in armor, sure. He doesn't sword and shield, and he's not a trained tourney knight. He doesn't need to be. He's a bear, okay? Or a squisher, literally. He jumps on you, puts 300 plus pounds on you, and eats your face. You ever see that? Okay, you can be a trained martial artist, but I'm just gonna tackle you. I remember, granted, I'm not the Biter, my friends aren't. But I remember when me and my friends would pretend we knew karate and fighting styles in the backyard, would beat each other up. And the guy who watch YouTube tutorial videos of cool fighting styles, and he would try that. And then I would always all right, I can't out goofy fighting style him, so I'm just gonna tackle him. And it worked. It's a good method to just I didn't bite people, but Biter does. I'd put him literally at A tier. I really would. Okay, let's get to the comments. There are no men like me. Only me. Sir Amory Lorch. Yeah. And that was Julian Roxas. I think just making a joke about how he all of a sudden is so amazing. So no way y'all are voting Lorch. This is for Meat of Us Finest. Biter would literally eat him alive. Yeah, no, for real. A lot of these, I won't read all of you. What are you guys doing? Okay, here's Efren T. This is somebody who's pro Lorch. Although Lorch is regarded as unintelligent, nobody survives 40 years in the business without encountering a Biter or two. I get your point. You would have to be a pretty good fighter. You have to be able to fight savages like this if you're going to live for 40 years. Think about what Biter lived through. Ever since he was a child, he was literally a pit fighter. He's fought dozens, if not hundreds of people. You want to talk about a hard life? I don't know, man. Dude, Biter almost killed Brienne. Yeah, a lot of people fought against that too. I'm trying to find the reason Biter was able to maul Brienne. Yeah, this is Yanverb. The reason Biter was able to beat maul Brienne is the fact that she was already fighting Lorch and 5 other dudes. Any armored knight would destroy Biter in one-on-one combat. It's this armor thing that I completely. So let's find Bob Roberts said, according to this chat, gigantic cannibal with sharp teeth that has fought in the pits his entire life since childhood and has gotten down on has taken down one of the best fighters in Westeros, loses a less than sign to a helmet. Yeah, that's armor is really, you think that Biter has never fought anyone with armor before? All right. Okay. I'll stop being mad about it. It's just, I had Biter getting out of this bracket. I think Biter is extremely underrated. Okay, let's get to our first major stomp. So Lorch versus Meagor the Cruel. Yeah, we got a 98-2. Let's just
got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. I mean, we all knew Meagor would. This was when I put it together, I laughed. I was like, you got to put Lorch somewhere. And it was Meagor's got to completely destroy one person. It might as well be Lorch, like who cares? I know said, is that even a real question? Of course Meagor wins. WTF? That's an easy one. Yeah, of course it's an easy one. I had to put them somewhere. Irish Potato Thief said in an alternate timeline, Meagor enjoyed books and tea, but not in this one. Lorch better run and hide if he wants to keep his noseless head. I'm not going to read too many more because I do want to get this going. Assassin's Craft. Assassin Craft. I don't know how to read this. Let's get to your actual name. Voidspawn. That's what I meant to say. Voidspawn said this the kind of fight Meagor would probably do barehanded for fun. It's probably all right. Moving on to Crow Killer versus Corpse Killer. This is cool. Elfin Crow Killer versus Kago Corpse Killer. It was just really cool to get Elfin in here. And I'm also covering him for a video in a little while. So he's like fresh in my head when I was putting together this tournament months ago when I was putting my list together and this tournament together. It just happened that I was like, oh yeah, Crow Killer's kind of a monster, psycho. And I need another person for monsters. So yeah, that's how Crow Killer got in here. And yeah, he got beat by Corpse Killer. And this is, of course, one of those. Corpse Killer has a Valyrian steel sword. So the phrase in combat sports, who wins? The fans. Yeah, this would be a slobber knocker. Yeah, the fans definitely would win this fight. Let's look around at a good one here. The Punisher says Kago has a Valyrian steel weapon. Yeah, this is what, of course, a lot of people probably why Kago won. And is being a sellsword for more likely to have better access to mail and plate than a wildling, although they can get some through trade or looting off corpses. And then Irish Potatoes Thief said, I shall vote off names. And it's very hard to kill a very smart bird than it is a cadaver. Yeah, you got a point. And yeah, Everett T said Valyrian still Araka Dothraki, Tatter Prince, right hand man going with Kago. Yeah. There you guys go. That's what Kago, like I said, it's Valyrian steel sword. All right, moving on to another Arak, but this time not Valyrian steel. And yeah, this is Zolo versus Godry Faring the Giant Slayer. I didn't really care who'd win this just because it's like one of those like Clayton and Ramsey, like whoever wins, I don't think is getting very far anyways. I was surprised by how much it was. I didn't read how far or what. Yeah, 81% to 19. Yeah, I didn't think it would be that one-sided. A lot of people kind of hate on. Yeah, there was just a lot of like Argos said Godfrey just boom, and then Melky M. Here, let me click it. Mikey M. Yeah, Mikey M. Not Milky at all, just Mikey. Sorry, Mikey. Just says Godfrey destroys. And yeah, Rebel Lord Terran said, unfortunately, Godfrey, only because his record is a bit more comprehensive than Zolo. And then, of course, a lot of people are going through deeds and feats because a lot of my chat's feats fetishes. And I want to say, yeah, Diego P, let's talk about your thing here. Have you ever seen Dothraki win a significant fight? I don't recall any. Dothraki and pit fighters seem to have issues of fighting armor knights, and in general, fighters from Slaver's Bay and other mercenaries, like the pack of clowns that sit on stilts. Yeah. More like WWE wrestlers, strong and in good shape, but it's all a facade. So let's talk about this whole. Have we ever seen? So we're gonna get to it. I think we got to it already, but a lot of people want to bring up, how the Arak did against armor when it comes to fighting Jorah Mormont, right? And I think the armor had that, but guys, keep in mind that in the book, it's not like the show where just the Arak tried to go against armor and it didn't do it, and the guy was like, I got nothing, and then dies. No, he slashed into him and got his Arak stuck on Jorah Mormont's hip. Like he literally dug into him and it got stuck on the hip bone, and Jorah was able to kill him. That's not the Aurak's fault. That's Jorah being able to, like, I trapped you with my hip bone. That's insane, right? And then it wasn't armor. Sure, again, probably had something to do with it, but specifically how Kraz lost to Barristan. Also was Barristan Selmy. Keep that in mind. He didn't have to have a bad sword to lose against Barristan Selmy. He was going to lose regardless. But he got stuck on a tapestry. It was because they were fighting in a small area that his Aurak got stuck on tapestry. And that's not what's going on here. They're not fighting in the Lorax frickin' personal quarters like that fight. So I wanna talk about this. Oh, you use an Aurak, you lose. And I know that's not what Diego P said, but I see that a lot. And I want to say using those two as an example doesn't compute as much to me, because I don't think those people lost because they had Auraks. I think they lost because they were fighting Jorah frickin' Mormont and Barristan frickin' Selmy. I honestly think that's less of a factor as you think. Okay. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. We got one more for monsters, and then we're going to move on, and that's going to be Rattleshirt beating Raph the Sweetling. Rattleshirt 79% to Raph's 21%. This is just cathartic because after working on Raph's video a couple months back, I hate him, and I like needed the shower after writing that video. It was so gross. So I just wanted to see Raph die, and he did. So that's pretty awesome. All right. Start with Rebel Lord Terran here. Say I hate them both. However, this is a hard one. I'm just going to go with Rattleshirt because I think maybe he would be a bit more brutal. And happy April Fool's Day. Oh yeah, this came out on April Fool's. This is a day before my kid was born. Sweet. And then again, here's Raph has better equipment and armor than, it's not steel or bones, of course. Rattleshirt likely has a bronze or stones weapons. This is Lazy Boy. The houndsmen are not strangers to butchery. There we go. And then I forgot my name just said every time Taco makes a poll like this, I flip a coin, then get mad at the result and choose anyways. That's hilarious, dude. And then Edge Shadow. What's Raph's armor situation? He'd likely win if it's plate or mail, otherwise flip a coin. So many of these fights go down to, does this guy have better armor? Is this guy using an Aurak? And I'm not saying that's wrong. If that's how you want to choose, it's how you want to choose. Yeah, I feel like people are either obsessed with feats or obsessed with, like, does he have a helmet? Then he'll beat Biter. Okay. What? All right. So that was it for monsters. So let's get into big guys and gals. Although I should just wrote it big guys and gal. Right. So let's start off here. You can take a pause, take a look if you're ready. And then, yeah, let's start right off with Great John versus Harwin Breakbones. So, yeah, Great John number beat 82-18. I mean, Breakbones did really good last tournament. Like, didn't he get a couple wins? I want to say he did. I want to say he did pretty good. And I was really surprised because I didn't think he would do too good last year. So the fact that he made a run, I was like, does he have a chance? No. I mean, it's Great John. No, he doesn't have a chance. So, yeah, let's find a good one here. Sorry for dead air. This is what I get for not being prepared. Here we go. This got nine thumbs up. Spiral Sin said, Breakbones couldn't even beat a door. And then somebody under paint here. Let me find out what their name is. Oh, David Van Bosch. Okay, cool name. Said he broke his bones on them. It's pretty freaking funny. All right. So yeah, I'm just trying to find some really good ones, but and I'm trying to get people's actual names so I can. Oh, this guy didn't. DNGN Dingen said it's rough because by all regards, Harwin should be considered an absolute best, but he's only remembered for losing to the greatest warrior of his era, which yes, it's Crispy Cole, Krispy Kremes. Great John, probably top 10 of his era. And Northerners are built different. Harwin was probably top 3 once you factor in Krieg and Stark. I think it could go either way. Yeah, very good points. I do think that, yeah, you lose to Kristen Cole that bad, and, no one's talking about your other fights. They're only talking about that one. All right. This was one I was really proud of. I was really proud of Small Paul versus Iron Emmett because they're both just really big guys, but they're really underrated. And Iron Emmett got some love. So, yeah, Iron Emmett beat Small Paul 73% to 27%. So that was pretty cool. Let's get to some comments. And I'm really sorry if you guys do not like this format. If I get enough comments that say, hey, don't do this again, I'll try not to. I'll try to actually get this done. But if you are okay with how I'm doing it this way, that means that I can continue doing it this way. And I kind of get, free time to be a husband and a dad. So, yeah. This guy said, what's his name? Sandman Bo said, hey, Iron Emmett, hey, Paul, look over there, a pretty bird. And Paul goes, what? And then he looks away, and Emmett, slash, round over. I mean, yeah, that's probably, hey, you get to tend the rabbits. I get to tend the rabbits? It's a Lenny Small joke, right? Diego Pete said, I love Iron Emmett, but you can't ignore the fact that Small Paul is strong enough to carry someone as heavy as Sam for like a long time. He may not be the brightest, but he could end most fights in a single blow. Yeah, absolutely. Small Paul is just freakishly big. A lot of people have to remember that. And then Kevin Nutzling said Small Paul was bigger, Small Paul was stronger, but was so simple that he wouldn't take much to deal with in a fight. Major points for managing to disarm an other despite being mortally wounded. Yeah, heck yeah. Emmett was one of the only members of the Night's Watch who was really admired. He was a phenomenal swordman. Why are you saying was? He's still around. Even managed to get involved with a spearwife. Ooh. John made a mistake sending him away. Did he send him away? I don't remember that. All right. I don't have time to go through that right now. I thought that I didn't know he sent him away. Maybe he did. My Iron Emmett video isn't too far off, so I'll find out soon. All right, let's get into my next tournament, I'm going to do less really, really awesome matchups in round 1. I feel like I got a lot of people mad this time, but yeah, this is one of them. Strong Belwas and Sandok the Shadow being wasted right away in round 1. Sandok the Shadow beat Belwas 81-19. Now, I don't think that is saying that Belwas sucks. That's just how good Sandok is. And a lot of people have to remember that, is that people like me and others do consider Sandok should win this entire tourney, right? I think he should. I'm going to be really mad if Sandok doesn't win this tourney, honestly. I think it's his time. He should have won last time. So Grant Campbell said, I love this fight so much. Beast on beast. Yeah. Efren T said, poor Strong Belwas. He deserved to go further in the tourney, but this is Sandok the Shadow. Better luck next year. Yeah, I won't put him next to Sandok next year. And then you got Rebel Lord Terran said, as much as I love Belwas, I got to give it to Sandok. I mean, there is no real argument with that one, that this should be a clean sweep, but we shall see. Yeah, it was pretty close. And yeah, just a lot of like, oof, poor Sandok. Poor Belwas. Yeah, poor Belwas. Better luck next year. Okay, moving on to Archibald Ironwood versus the Long Inch. Now, I really loved this match. Talk about like really underrated. A lot of people don't talk about these guys. This is a really fun match. So, yeah, Archibald won 79-21. Was that the same? No, it wasn't. Close though. Yeah, over Long Inch. So let's bring those up. If you guys don't remember, Archie was one of Quentin Martell's companions, and the Long Inch is a guy who fights Dunk at the end of the Sworn Sword. So Archie Bunker versus Archie Bonker. That's pretty funny. I forgot my name said that. The Punisher says, I think Dornish Bobby B beats Mr. Longinch. Yeah, you got a point. Rebel Lord Terran, the big man, Sir Archie, no damn doubt. Yeah, no. I'm glad that Archibald got a lot of love here. Hawk McBride said, I got to give it to the big man. He uses a spiked warhammer and described as being a great fighter. He's better than Garrus and Quentin, which I don't think's like a huge bar, but yeah, Archibald is basically the Strong Bellows of Dorne. Yeah, but how did Strong Bellows do? Yeah, and then okay, sorry, I was reading a thread that was just like, which season of Dunkin' Eggs Longinch gonna be in? Season 2. Okay, Small John versus Duncan the Tall. Sorry, Small John. Small John does not deserve me playing this.
You got knocked the fuck out!
Yeah, I mean, Small John would win against almost everybody else in this bracket, but he just happened to go against Duncan the Tall. Same with Strong Bellows, all right? So yeah, sorry, Small John Umber. But yeah, Duncan the Tall's Duncan the Tall. He's a fan favorite. He's going to go far in this tourney regardless. The end of this bracket, the big guys and gals bracket, is very most likely going to be Duncan versus Sandok. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. And I don't know who's going to win that. As much as I think Sandok should win, and I think Sandok should win this entire tournament, a lot of people might go Duncan over him because Duncan is loved, and still so much of this is a popularity contest. I know that bothers people, that a popularity wins a lot, but it just does. It's just, this isn't me defending that fact. That's me just living with it, coping with it. Guys, there's still a lot of popularity when it comes to this, and Duncan is loved by the fandom. So yeah, he has a very good chance of winning all of this, really. Kevin Nutzling said, over Duncan's life, he's defeated a Targaryen prince, a Storm King, a Blackfire King, and many skilled knights. He went from using his hard upbringing and strength to surprise and overwhelm opponents to gaining the experience to making him an actual legend. He wins so long as it isn't a joust, otherwise he's doomed. Yeah. He said everything right. And then HCLW said, Dunk the luck, think it's a castle wall. But seriously, oh no, how long's this comment? All right, it's not super long. But seriously, I think Sir Duncan is going to take this through the good old school of hard knocks. Dunk refined himself as a kid and had to lean on just his strength to do something. Wait. Okay, Dunk refined himself into a kid that had to lean on just his strength to someone with skill to match his size. By the way, Sir Duncan has a Kingsguard cloak. By the time Sir Duncan has a Kingsguard cloak, he'll be safe and able to win. Sorry, I butchered that. I'm tired, as you guys already know. New dad here. New dad twice. And then Baylor Breakspear said the results do not necessarily reflect on how Small John would do, just that he would not leave victorious. Yes, you have to read that way, is that 90% of the people think this. They don't think he would lose 9-1. That's something you have to remember. All right. All right, moving on to Shaga versus Brienne. This one was a little controversial. Pretty much anytime I had Brienne in this, a lot of people say Brienne, and then people are like, oh, just because she's a girl. Maybe not a lot of people, but there's always a couple. I forgot my name says Timot. I see you, I forgot my name. You've been in my dreams lately over this whole Timot thing. I put him on the list, all right? Jeez, calm down. Is that what you want from me? Is that what you want from me? All right. Movie lover fan said Brienne in the books is stronger and faster and would be a tough battle. Yes, absolutely. And then somebody says Brienne in the books, Kevin Newsling, Brienne in the books isn't as impressive and never fights or never meets the Hound. I think you're completely wrong. I think she is more impressive in the books, honestly. She's impressively strong. That Duncan the Tall blood. And once when her would-be betrothed insisted that she act like a normal lady, she challenged him and broke several bones in his body. Later, she handles herself well against several savage, brave companions. Yeah, so he's saying, even though I missed it, yeah, never beats the Hound, doesn't fight the Hound, but she still has this. I wrote my Shagwell again video. I covered Shagwell a long time ago, and I wrote my remake a couple days ago, and I re-listened to the chapter where Brienne fights with brave companions. She doesn't break a sweat. Like, she doesn't. Like, it's like, oh, all she does is fight savages. Yeah, but she completely handled them. She's like, oh, I'm blocking, I'm going to cut his hand off, I'm going to cut this. But, like, she has her way with Timian, Pig, and then Shagwell, she just stabs him to death. Like, that's murder, not a fight. But it's not, like, you can't blame. It's like when a team, like, beats, like a football team beats a crappy team, like 40-7, and it's like, oh, who cares? They're a bad team. What were they supposed to do? They were put against those guys that day. It's not our fault Brienne hasn't gone against the Hound, but the people we've seen her go against, she does really well. Yes, Jaime's a different story, okay? And that's also book 1. I feel like she's already learned a lot. Her arc is really, and come on, we got to talk about not Ashford Meadow, Bridge here. All right. So yeah, and then here's another from Roman. Let me just read this off. Roman Yukev comments a lot. Thank you. Said Brienne struggled with Rorge, a common brute with an axe and tied up and starved. Jaime Shaka would definitely win. He got a little bit of people did some pushback on here. I do agree that I don't think she really struggled with Rorge that much, and she fought a bunch of other people at that same time. And yeah, Jaime is still Jaime. I think Shaga should not get downplayed. He is rocking two-handed battle axes. And also he took so much punishment in the battle of the Green Fork where he had like multiple arrows and he was still standing. Yeah, I'm not saying Brienne can handle him. I just don't like people talking about how Brienne isn't that good. Like, the Brienne's awesome. But it's still Shaga. So if Shaga would have win, I actually wouldn't have got too mad. I don't want it to be because Brienne's not good. I want it to be because Shaga's that good. You get what I'm saying? There's a difference there. It's like, oh, Taco's not going to win against a fight against Ted. Why? Because Ted's really good. See, I'm not going to get offended, but it's like, because Taco sucks. I'll be like, hey, Ted's probably going to win, but it's not because I suck. There's that difference is what I'm getting at. Is Brienne could have lost. She didn't. Could have lost against Shaga, and it's not because she sucks. It's because Shaga is a monster. But no, she handled them pretty well, and good job. All right, we got 2 left. Gren versus Hostine Frey. I can't believe a Frey won this. That's my comment. I can't believe a Frey won this. A lot of people talk crap about Gren. Gren doesn't get his fight with Mag the Mighty from the show, of course. That's Donald Noy in the book. So yeah, Hostine Frey easily wins this. Gren is a green boy, says Diego P. And then Mikey said, Sir Stupid is actually a good fighter. Gren is pretty strong, but has a long way to go until he can be called a capable swordsman. And then, yeah, Aurochs. So this is Irish Potato Thief. Aurochs versus the Bull. A moody battle, huh? This was on Monday. Gren's more likely to survive a winter wonderland, and Hostine's more likely to rage at flowers. Take your pick. Yeah, Hostine Frey. Hey, I'm glad a Frey won. You guys can't say I suck. You know, now I got one Frey. One Frey made it. Don't complain. All right, last one here, and this was a banger. This was yesterday, and I loved this. This was a Lyle, the Strong Boar Craig Hull beat Otho the Brood of Bracken 72-28. And this is another one of those. I feel like a lot of people agree. This isn't because the Brood of Bracken sucks. It's because Lyle Craig Hull's freaking Lyle Craig Hull. And I'm okay with that assessment there. Yeah, this was a really good match. And let's get into some comments. So Irish Potato Thief said, bro showed up, got a little lore dropped on him, then told Dunk, that may be, but it is your cause, not mine. I know you not, boy. And then he dipped. Legendary. Yeah, I love Otho Bracken, so I covered him twice. Grant Campbell, just a emoji of a boar. That's pretty good. And yeah, Huck McBride said, not an easy fight, but Strong Boar clears. And yeah, I'll read. This is the last one. I'll read Kevin Nutzling's a long one here. Kevin Nutzling said Jamie considers Lyle one of the strongest men in Westeros. It implied that he'll be one who takes down the false hound Lemon Cloak and finally end the rumors that Sandor is terrorizing the Riverlands. Although was strong enough to kill a Blackwood opponent in a tourney by using a blunted axe to smash in his helmet. Later, he's asked to attend the White Walls tourney wedding and to take part in the Second Blackfire Rebellion, but he refused, likely smart enough to realize the low odds. Tough call, but I'm going to give it to Lyle purely because we hear better fighters praise him. I don't know. Like, I love everything you said there, Kevin, but like everyone pretty much talks about how Brood of Bracken's somebody you got to worry about during that era. Maybe that's just my interpretation of the book itself. But all right, guys, I hope you didn't mind me doing it this way. Sorry if it was a little more annoying and I didn't have the cards up, but this literally cut like a day that I didn't have to prepare, or 2 days to prepare for this. All I had to do was just email myself a bunch of screenshots, so it was a lot easier. So if you didn't like it, let me know. Say like, hey, respectfully say, I don't know, might as well just like not do them then. But if you would rather have them this way than have them later not at all, let me know. Then I'll continue doing them this way, and it'll be a lot easier until I get a little bit more time. So yeah, let's look at the results. So yeah, this was also the Monsters bracket. So the Weepers going against the Mountain. That's awesome. Clayton Suggs versus Armory Lorch. Well, apparently it's Armory Lorch because he's the greatest fighter of all fucking time. Meagor the Cruel versus, I didn't move it over. It would be Cargo Corpse Killer. Meagor is gonna stomp again, and then Godfrey Faring the Giant Slayer versus Rattleshirt. That's gonna be a good fight. Big guys and gal. Great John versus Iron Emmett. That's pretty good. Sandog versus Ultra Bull Ironwood. Ooh, that's a good fight. And then at Duncan the Tall versus Brienne of Tarth. Poor Brienne. Dunk's gonna sweep, I bet. And then Hostine versus Lyle Craig Hall. Lyle's gonna win that. All right. Thank you guys. Click like, subscribe. Please let me know in the comments how you felt about this format. And also, everyone who commented, everyone who I read, even if I disagree with you, thank you so much for making this tournament what it is. It's one of the highlights of my year. It really is. So thank you guys a lot. And that's all I got. Massive thank you again. Peace.